Hey guys, how's it going? Robert Warshak here, and in this video I'm going to be covering all the important cards that are going to be leaving the Knights of the Frozen Throne set. If you didn't watch our first one covering Journey to Ungoro, I'm basically just going to go through the collection and kind of point out the most popular cards being played in the meta right now, the decks that they fit into, and what we're kind of miss out on. Like I said, I didn't want to make this into a whole video just because the length of it would be exceedingly very long, and I thought 15-minute bursts is all you guys can really deal with me. So with that, let's head into it and take a look at what's in the Druid class that came from Knights of the Frozen Throne, specifically that expansion. Wow, front page, nothing. Second page, ooh, Spreading Plague. This is a big hit for Druid. Spreading Plague is found in almost every single Druid deck, whether we're talking about Big Druid, Token Druid, of course, Malygos Druid, Togwaggle Druid. As Druid isn't a super popular class at the moment being played on ladder, it was and has been very popular throughout the past year and a half. So with that, Spreading Plague leaving is definitely like a huge defensive tool leaving the Druid class. As we know, all the DKs are going to be leaving. Most of the DKs are exceedingly powerful besides the Warrior one that absolutely fucking sucks. But besides that, Bonfurion is very, very good. Hadronox, so Taunt Druid, Ripperonis in those pepperonis. And Ultimate Infestation, if you play Druid, one of your most favorite cards, and if you don't play Druid, you hate when your opponent Ultimate Infestations you on turn 10, and then they basically redraw, summon a minion, and it's a super powerful card. Probably one of the most annoying Druid cards besides Spreading Plague at the moment, and I can't say I am that sad to see this card go. It is just so powerful, especially like back when Jades were a thing. Like having the UI, throwing all the Jades up on the board and then just redrawing their entire hand was completely nuts. So yeah, Druid took some hits for sure. Hunter, play dead. As we know, this is found in Cube Hunter. The whole Death Rattle package and, the ability to cube, or they played on, the Spider Bot. So like I mentioned in the first video, Priest and Hunter, I think out of all of the classes, are going to be taking the biggest hit. Just from what we see on ladder, Res Priest is really popular right now, or the OTK Priest, and then Cube Hunter or Death Rattle Hunter. And both those decks will literally not exist after this next rotation. So, Play Dead, of course, being part of that package. Venom Strike Trap, pretty important to the Secret Hunter, plus Hybrid Hunter, so that's leaving. Bear Shark doesn't see a ton of play, but it's definitely there for budget-based players. Death Star Rexar, of course. Unfortunately, Professor Putricide didn't really see much play. I thoroughly enjoyed this card, but it's not very popular. But Death Star Rexar, I am really happy to see this card go. Holy shit, I hate this card so much. Being able to generate a random beast every single turn from that turn after they play this. I mean, the ability to play one card in a Hunter deck and then be able to go toe-to-toe with a control deck is insane. And this card literally, you can play like a super aggro Hunter deck, or super aggro Hunter build, play Death Star Rexar, and Death Star, I know it's Death Stalker, but Death Star sounds so much cool because it shoots lasers and destroys everything, and that's basically what this guy does. And you can just generate a creature every turn. Not a lot of decks can deal with that. Mage, what are we losing for Mage? Nothing here. Syndragosa, kind of a big hit for those who play Control Mage, but not that big of a deal. Sim, so this was really good in the OTK Mage or any sort of, one turn, kill Mage. So Sim's leaving, that's good. And then Frostlit Jaina, probably one of my favorite DKs, super powerful. And Control Mage without this card would be absolutely fucking horrible. So the fact that this is leaving, I mean, all the power levels of the decks without the Death Knights being in the picture anymore is going to significantly go down. So maybe Control Mage can make some sort of a comeback without needing Frostlit Jaina. But as of now, if you were to build a Mage deck that does not include Frostlit Jaina, I mean, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, the card is just so overwhelmingly powerful. Paladin, I know Paladin's taking a pretty good big hit. A pretty good big hit. Righteous Protector is going down the drain. Uther, so OTK. Paladin is going down. I like to see that. There's still going to be, I'm pretty sure there's Shrivala Holy Wrath. If I'm not mistaken, that's still going to be a thing. But the Four Horsemen deck, it's actually not even that popular, to be honest. I haven't seen Four Horsemen in a long time. Shrivala OTK with the Holy Wrath seems to be it was originally Four Horsemen, and then it's kind of switched to the Holy Wrath version, which is really interesting. Spirit Lash, this is a big, like comeback mechanic for the OTK priests, because they play Velen or they play Malagos or they resurrect either one of those, and they play Spirit Lash and the heal for like, you know, stupid amounts, almost back to 30 most of the time. So Spirit Lash leaving, good for those of you who don't like priest. Eternal Servitude, this is a huge card to leave. Again, like I said, resurrect priest and hunter are absolutely demolished. So Eternal Servitude, one of the key factors there. Shadow Essence, another part of the key factors, so that's gone. Benedictus, not a big deal. Shadow Reaper Anduin, so that might, you know, the ability for, you know, what is it, like dragon combo. They play some dragons, Twilight Drakes, and all that good stuff. They run Mind Blast and Shadow Visions. They Shadow Reaper, and then they go like Mind Blast, Hero Power, Mind Blast, Hero Power, and Hero Power again somewhere in there. It's Hero Power first, Mind Blast. Your power Mind Blast, yeah. It's 16 damage, so it's just a lot of damage that it does, and most of the time they can put in a lot of chip damage. So Shadow Reaper Anduin, big deal for leaving. And Obsidian Statue, again, one of the really good cards that Priest plays in the OTK version, just to have a huge defense minion. The ability to lifesteal Death Rattle, also kill an enemy minion, plus it has Taunt's insane. So it's good to see Priest getting knocked down a peg or two. Doomerang and Leeching Poison would be a big deal if Leeching didn't get buffed or nerfed because of the Kingsbane rogue, but since that got wrecked, you know, not a big deal there. And then it's just Valeera. It's amazing that some of like the classes that we're going to cover, there's literally like only one card that it really loses. Warrior, Rogue, and I think Shaman, and one of these three videos, it loses like no cards. There's just not a card in the entire set that's currently being played, which is amazing. It's just like, what does that class even do? Looking at Shaman, look at this. Like, what did we lose? Frozen Throne for Shaman. What the fuck is this? Like, whoa, these cards suck. The only thing in here is Thrall, and that doesn't even see play anymore. Like, there's nothing here. This Shaman, like, what? Good job. Good expansion for Shaman. Looking at Warlock, Defile. Ooh, big hit, big hit, big hit. Gnome Feratsu, so rip Thanos Warlock. Howlfiend Treachery combo. Howlfiend Treachery combo is done. Despicable Dreadlord, and then Blood Reaver Gul'dan. Again, huge card for the Control Warlock, the Cube Warlock. Almost every Warlock plays this card. It's insane. And again, the power level after this rotation is going to be so low in comparison to what it is now, unless they print more Death Knight like cards. You know, we have Hagatha after the rotation, we have Dr. Boom, and then we also have Vol'jin. But in my opinion, those guys are pretty toned back. Hagatha is probably the best one out of those. But yeah, it's good to see pegs being knocked down. Looking at Warrior, you know, we got Dead Man's Hand, doesn't see play, but still a solid card. Blood Razor's decent, but again, doesn't really see a lot of play unless you're playing, you know, not Odd Warrior, which isn't very popular at the moment at all. And then that's it. Like, Warrior has nothing either. There's nothing here substantial. I mean, I like this card, but it doesn't see play, so. Rip Warrior. Losing nothing. Taking a look, Prince. Thank God, this card is gone. Oh God, I hate this card so much. I mean, I play him in some of my decks because, you know, Shark Rogue with this guy is super fun. You can like buff, you know, your minions up to like 10 times we did in one game. But still, it's not a fun card to play against. Happy Ghoul, not that really big of a deal. Arthas, never really saw play. The other Prince is not bad. A lot of cube players play him, but he's nothing like huge. Corpse Taker is a pretty powerful card, and a lot of people actually play this card. So this card's leaving. It's gonna interrupt the mid game for those decks, and by those decks, I mean the Mecha'thun Warlock currently plays this. There's some even shamans who currently play this. I play this in my elemental deck. So the decks that see this card being played in it, this isn't necessarily a staple, but it has seen a variety of different decks, so it's hard to classify one in particular. Tickling's gone, so obviously Mecha'thun is no longer going to be it. Mecha'thun Priest is no longer going to be a thing. Serenite, after the nerf, really saw a huge decline in the amount of the popularity of this card index, but it's still pretty popular among, you know, budget-based players who, like, you know, they invest in the card. The card's still good, it's just not as powerful as it was. Scalebane, pretty solid card in my opinion, and Odd Rogue is leaving as well. Geist, this is a big deal. So the ability, like when Taunt Druid was a really popular deck, and sometimes cube locks, because of Dark Pact, but most of the time it's for the druid. Yeah, you can Stalking Geist, I guess warrior too because of shield slams and all that stuff, but mostly druids. It gets rid of their naturalizes and their spell stones, so then like when they would play Hadronox, they wouldn't be able to kill Hadronox in a single turn, which would allow the opponent to be able to, you know, polymorph it or CC it in some sort of way where the druid wouldn't be able to resurrect back the Hadronox and get the original kill on it. So Stalking Geist leaving is a pretty big deal because it's just a really good tech card. New Rubian Unraveler is a tech card that some people saw play in some other, or like against combo based decks that revolved around spells. So like OTK Mage, Malagos Rogue, and things of that nature. So not that big of a deal. I didn't see a ton of play, but it's still a card I think worth mentioning. Bone Mare saw a ton of play before it got nerfed. After the nerf, now it's just found in even Warlock. So now even Warlock's going to have to find a replacement for that 8-drop. But yeah, so Bone Mare, pretty big deal. And then Lich King, this card is so popular. I mean, you basically can put this card in any deck, and it just, there's not a bad time to play Lich King. If he sits on the board for multiple turns, the value that this guy brings is insane because most of the Lich King cards are pretty powerful. You know, Death and Decay, Coil, Army of the Dead in some situations, Anti-Magic Shell, Death Grip, Frostmourne. I mean, the list goes on. So with Lich King leaving, it's a pretty powerful card, pretty powerful late game card. Again, Resurrect Priest doesn't have Lich King anymore, and Evenlock doesn't have Lich King anymore. I mean, the decks that this guy fits into are, and you know, I'm sure I missed out a ton, but those are the ones that popped into my head first. So Frozen Throne, fairly powerful expansion. I think what made this expansion as good, and when people think of Frozen Throne, it's the DKs. You know, the DKs were just some of the best cards by far out of this set. And just like if you have two players going against each other, right, and one draws their DK and one doesn't, the player that drew their DK is just, the win rate for that player just goes so much higher than the other one, just because they drew the DK, and they can just get more and more value from it as the game goes on every turn because they increased or they upgraded their hero power. So hopefully the game doesn't really come down to DKs as much. Like, DKs are cool. Like Dr. Boom is a great example of a DK, not, you know, so much the randomness of it changing every turn, but the power level of the DK as a whole. Well, it's like they play Dr. Boom, the game's not necessarily over, right? It's just like, it's good, but it's not game ending. Like when your opponent plays Blood Reaver Gul'dans and summons 4 Doom Guards and 2 Void Daddies, and you're like so with that, that's gonna wrap up our Knights of the Frozen Throne overlook. Again, if I happen to miss out on anything, let me know, guys. I'm trying to, like, again, I wasn't really sure how to make this video. There's just a lot of cards, and I could have done it like super editing intensive, but it would have taken so much time to do something like that when I can just go into my collection and bring up the cards and talk about them and make sure we don't miss anything. So with that, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you're excited as the new rotation as I am when the set comes out in roughly like, it's like 2 months ish. So with that, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next episode. Of course, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.